Hey sports fans, this is Straight from the Basement with OMMY. I'm a sports fan who always said, if I never played a sport professionally, then I want to talk about it. I'm born and raised in New York City. Played organized basketball for several well-known teams in the mid-'70s and the early '80s, such as the legendary Home Cold Rucker Tournament, Melbank, Stone Gym and Riverside Church, LaGuardia House, and my all-time favorite, Each One Teach One. Having sports in my life at an early age always kept me out of trouble. If I wasn't playing basketball, I was either playing football or baseball. Hey sports fans, this is Straight from the Basement with OMMY, where my opinions, views, and facts will cover the hottest, the latest, and the past sports events. Welcome once again. I want to continue to thank everyone who has liked and subscribed to my podcast. And if this is the first time you viewing it, please do the same. Now, as always, before I even get into today's topic, I got one hot topic this week to talk about. We're talking about the NBA All-Star Weekend that just finished. I'm not talking about the skills game. I'm not even talking about the actual All-Star game. I'm not talking about the celebrity game. I'm talking about one person and one person only. We're talking about Little Mac McClung, who stole the weekend on the slam dunk contest. Listen, my dude, I think if I can remember, every dunk that he made was on his first try. He didn't go to the second and the third try like the rest of those big dudes, number one. Two, listen, his dunks was not your average dunks. We were not expecting what we saw on All-Star Weekend. Thank God for Little Mac. He brought back the NBA Slam contest. We can look forward to seeing him and others like him next year. So I want to move on to today's topic. We're talking about the NBA playoff bound 2023. NBA playoff bound 2023. Now, NBA fans, let me tell you, right now, second half of the season has just begun. And this second half, unlike other second halves throughout the years, we're talking about playoff style basketball just to make it in the playoffs, because both conferences are stacked. You're talking about 13 seed to the 8 seed. Only 4 games separate each team. Only four games separate 13 from 8. Listen, it is stacked. It is stacked on both conferences. Listen, we're gonna have a ball watching these. Just to make it to the play-in is gonna be something. Now, all that load management and all the minor injuries, listen, all that goes out the window starting right now. Okay, if teams got back-to-back, if they got a back-to-back, yes, that superstar on down got to play that back-to-back. Ain't no more sitting and chilling. No, because listen, you can lose 3-4 games and you be slipping. You may slip right out of the play-in. So listen, it ain't no time for that. 23 games left. It is on. When I say it is on, it is on. Now, you got some teams got stronger. And then you got some teams that's just hanging on by their thread. Listen, since the deadline, we know right now we expect who we really think as NBA fans who should be that 1 through 8 once the play-in is over. Okay? But then again, you got a couple of teams like my Lakers, like the Chicago Bulls, right? That's not in the play-in right now. But listen, teams like that going to start making moves. It's going to be on. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, and this is for sure, we as NBA fans, we are going to be in heaven basketball heaven for the next 4 months. It's going to be on and popping. So for this topic, I have a few guests for this show. So I want to introduce my guests to you. I got Said from Boogie Down Bronx, New York. I got Greg from New York City, New York. And we got Rail. We got Rail from St. Louis, Missouri. And coming down on the home stretch, we got Lou T from Monroe, New York, a.k.a. the Boogie Down Bronx. How you guys doing, fellas? How y'all doing? Talk to me. How y'all doing?
Doing good, doing good. Thank you.
Great,
All
doing
right,
great.
all right.
Great.
That's what's up. Thank y'all.
Let's talk about this.
Oh, yeah. Thank y'all. I want to thank y'all for hanging out with me virtually in the basement. Yes, as always, I appreciate y'all. So, listen, fellas, we're going to dive right into this show with these 6 questions, and we ain't going to waste no time. So, my first question, Said, is to you. My first question is, which 8 Eastern Conference teams will make the playoffs after the play-in is decided? Please explain.
Okay. The first 8 that I have, my 8 is the Boston Celtics, the Milwaukee Bucks,
All right.
Philadelphia 76ers, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the New York Knickerbockers.
You got the Knicks in there. Okay.
Brooklyn Nets.
All right.
Atlanta Hawks.
Atlanta Hawks.
And Miami Heat.
Okay. All right. Well, listen. Right now, as we stand right now, that's the 8. So you saying those 8 that you just named is not going to change. That order's not going to change. Okay. Well, thank you very much for that. Same question, Greg.
Got you. So the first team that I have as well is going to be the Boston Celtics, number 1.
Right.
Number 2 in the East, I have the Milwaukee Bucks.
Right.
Number 3, I have the 76ers.
Right.
4, I'm going to stick with Cleveland as well. 5, I got to go with my home team, the Knicks. And I hope they could slide a little further, but I'm going to keep them right in the middle because I feel like they're about to start turning up a little bit.
Okay.
Number 6, Brooklyn. They took some losses, but they still got a solid cast. So I'm going to put them right behind the Knicks. Number 7, I'm going to go with the Miami Heat. And then the 8th seed, I'm going to go with the Hawks.
Going with the Hawks. So you like Said, sound like y'all sticking and staying the way the order is right now and do this 1 to 8. Because this second half of the season is just starting. So that's the 1 through 8 right now. Okay, so same question, Rel. Who you got?
Okay, so I pretty much had the same top 7 roughly. So
Right.
I'm gonna have the first seed, the Celtics. Then I'm gonna have Philadelphia as number 2. I feel like Philadelphia can maybe leapfrog the Bucks, but the Bucks still gonna be at number 3. Then I'm gonna have the Cavaliers. I have the Knicks going up to number 6. Then I have Miami, then Brooklyn, and I have the Bulls with a upset coming in from the play-in. But I also may just be biased though with the Bulls.
Listen. I was hoping one of y'all said the Bulls. I wasn't gonna comment on this question. You know what I'm saying? You know, Zach with the Rosen, and the rest of the crew. I think since the deadline has passed, right? We didn't know if DeRozan was going to stay. Remember Levine, he was dying to come to LA, to the Lakers. He want to come home. But now since they settled, listen, I think I'm with you on that, Rel. I believe the Bulls are sliding into one of those 8 spots, but we going to see. I really, truly believe that. Lou T, same question. Talk to me.
So same for me. You gotta have Boston at the top. Boston has been the most consistent.
Right.
Boston, Philly, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, I feel like it's gonna slide. I just feel like it's like they have solid players. They got solid players in return for KD, but I don't know if they could sustain staying in that top 8. I don't know if it's gonna be the Bulls that catch them. I can't remember off the top of my head how far back certain teams are. I'll throw Chicago in that 8th spot. I'll throw Chicago in that. So basically the same as everybody else said. I'm gonna go with Rels though. I'm gonna have Chicago slide in that 8th spot.
Okay.
And maybe Brooklyn fall out. Maybe another team creep in there too. I'm not sure which team, but maybe another team creeps in there too.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm glad you mentioned that because especially in the East, you got the 13th seed and the 8th seed. They're only 4 games apart. Okay? Only 4 games apart. And so, yeah, it's not far-fetched for the Chicago Bulls or let's say, listen, Indiana Pacers. You know what I mean? You got Turner. You got Halliburton. Them boys is playing. You know what I'm saying? They playing. They on a little loser streak. Excuse me. They on a little loser streak right now. But I think they get it together come second half of this season. So yeah, it's going to be a dogfight. But I want to thank all 4 of y'all for your responses for question number 1. Question number 2 is pretty much the same. Question number 2 goes like this. Which 8 Western Conference teams will make the playoffs after the play-in is decided? So, I said, talk to me. I mean, you from the East you had 1 through 8 the way it is now. Is it the same or is it different? Talk to me.
It's a little bit different for the Western Conference. I got Denver number 1. I got the Phoenix Suns number 2. I think they're going to climb up real big with KD over there. I got the Grizzlies number 3. My number 4 team is the Dallas Mavericks. Number 5 is the Clippers.
All right.
And I'm going to flip-flop my 6 and 7. So I'm making my 6 the Sacramento Kings. And my 7's going to be Minnesota Timberwolves. And number 8, right now I have the Pelicans, but I think Portland can actually beat them.
Okay.
So for now, I got the Pelicans at 8.
You got Pelicans at 8. Okay. Well, I guess you banking on Zion coming back on time. My man Williams, he's starting to be the new street clothes. He's staying hurt. Come on, my man.
Simmons. He's the new Ben Simmons.
Yeah. Oh, man. Same question, Greg. Who you got with the West?
Got you. So the first team I have out the West, hands down, I think it's going to be the Nuggets.
Okay.
Then I'm going to have to go with Memphis, number 2. I think the Suns is going to be right behind them.
Okay.
KD anticipation, I could see them clicking, going on a nice win streak after that.
Right.
Behind them at number 4, I'm going to have to go with Dallas. Right behind Dallas, I think it's going to be the Clippers. The Clippers been working throughout the season. The 6th seed, I'm going to have to go with the Sacramento Kings. And then the 7th seed, I'm going to go with the Minnesota Timberwolves. And then the 8th seed, I'm going with the Pelicans. I'm going to go with the Pelicans as well.
With the Pelicans.
I think they're gonna have something clicking too. They're going to slide in that 8th seed.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that, Greg. T, same question. Talk to me.
For me, it's gonna be my list is gonna be a little bit different. So 1, I got Denver. I got Denver at the top. Phoenix has been struggling all season. They acquired KD, but they gave up a lot of defense and a lot of role players to acquire KD. So I'm not convinced that offense is just gonna carry them to a top seed in the West. Like I think they're gonna stay stagnant in the West. And KD has to come back healthy and stay healthy. Memphis, obviously, I got faith in Golden State to make a push. Golden State's gonna make a push. Minnesota, I don't have faith in. I think Minnesota losing a lot of players within the last year is gonna hurt Minnesota. Definitely got the Lakers sneaking in there. That's dependent on health, though. The Lakers, I don't feel like have a chemistry problem. I think their problem is going to be health. As long as LeBron and AD can stay healthy, I think the Lakers are a solid 6, 7 seed. I got New Orleans in there. I think that would be my 8th team I'll pick. I think New Orleans over Portland. I don't think Portland makes it. Dame is a monster, but New Orleans, even without Zion, is just a more complete basketball team than Portland.
So true. Rel, did I just skip Rel?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you did.
I did. I know I did. Listen, I had a senior moment. Rel, same question. I'm sorry about that, Rel. Talk to me, man.
It's all good. it had just gave me more time to think on my list.
All right.
I'm just joking. So the first seed I have Denver, obviously, like was pretty much like put themselves up forward with Joker. Number 2, I have Phoenix. I feel like once KD get a lineup and they start meshing, I feel like they're gonna go on a tear. Number 3, I have Dallas, pretty much for the same reason why I think Phoenix is gonna do their thing.
Right.
Number 4, I have the Clippers because today I just saw they just signed Westbrook.
Yeah, man.
So I believe Westbrook, he's gonna have like a real big chip on his shoulder. You know, he's still at home. And Kawhi, whenever Kawhi played this year, Kawhi been putting up at least 30. So I got number 4, the Clippers. Number 5, I'm gonna say the Kings.
Right.
6, I feel like 6, 7, and 8 is gonna be a toss-up with me. And it's gonna be between the Lakers, the Warriors, and I believe maybe the Pelicans to round out that top 8.
Okay. Well, I'm glad, Rel, you mentioned the Warriors. You know what I mean? Because they are the champions.
Right. So I feel like they got to be in the playoffs this year. I just feel
And none of y'all, the other 3 didn't mention anything about the Warriors. It's like they.
Warriors?
Yeah,
I took the Warriors.
Oh, you all right? You did. Okay. Listen, like the East, like the West, 13 seed to the 8 seed is only 4 games apart from each other, right? And so listen, it's going to be on, right? When this second half, when the second half is on right now, it's going to be bananas. So, I saw most of y'all got the Kings dropping from the 3rd seed. So, which means y'all don't believe they gonna hold up. Okay, I understand. KD is with the Suns. Yeah, we gonna see what KD shows up. Like you said, Lil T, is he gonna be healthy enough? Right? Yeah, they gave up a lot. They gave up defense. They got more offense now than defense on that Suns team. Chris Paul, he can't hang out like he used to on defense. KD ain't really trying to, you know what I'm saying? And Booker, these guys ain't really trying to play defense. You know what I mean? So we going to see. Now, my Lakers, you know what I mean? Listen, I believe there's 23 games left. I believe we win 18 or 19 of those 23. And I'm going to leave it alone because that's for another show. I'm going to leave it alone. Okay. I believe we win at least 18 or 19 of those 23 games. And then you already know what's going to happen after that. Okay. And so if that happens, then it's on. Then the West is going to be a shootout, Jack. Trust me on that. So thank y'all, all 4 of y'all, for question number 2. We're going to move on to question number 3. Hey, Said, who do you think the play-in tournament hurt or it enhances the game? Said, do you think the play-in tournament hurt or enhances the game? Talk to me, Said.
I think it enhances the game for the simple fact it helps teams that normally don't make it. And you get tired of seeing the same teams every year. So I like it for the simple fact that teams like Sacramento, we wouldn't even be having that discussion about the Kings because they was one of the worst teams in the league. So I like it for the simple fact it helps the teams that normally don't get in, give them an opportunity to get in. So yes, I do like it.
You like it. Okay. Thank you for that. Same question, Greg. Same question.
So I'm more of a conventional kind of NBA fan. I do like the old way of it. I mean, I feel like it's enough games during the season for a team to make their name by the time it's the playoff time. But I do kind of want to see how this is gonna go, because it's gonna give me that almost that any given Sunday NFL feel with the wild card. So like said, it's gonna make it a little exciting at the end when that random team come out and start firing on all cylinders. So I'm gonna just be a fan this year, and I just want to see the best team play every time they on TV. Once it get to that time,
We get to that time.
we'll be unbiased with it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that, Greg. Thank you for that. Same question, Ralph. Same question.
Yeah, so I actually love the play in ever since the first year they had introduced it. What was it during the COVID bubble when it was in Florida?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like I just feel like it just adds a whole nother aspect to the playoffs. It shakes it up, and pretty much how like Seth was saying, it gives a chance for the team that usually misses out on the playoffs by a game or two to throw that Hail Mary for them to try to get in at the last minute. And you never know, like the sleeping dog could probably like catch someone who would normally just look forward without even thinking about them. So I love it.
You love it. Okay. Thank you for that honesty. Thank you, Ralph. Same question, T. Talk to me.
I agree with the other three gentlemen. It definitely adds excitement, like parity to the NBA season. The best thing I think about it is personally, it makes sense because you stop teams a lot from low managing too much. You stop certain teams like powerhouse teams for not caring about a lot of NBA games. So I love it. Like he said, like you give a sleeper a chance. You got some young teams out there that all they need is one or two superstars and they're dangerous. Like Memphis, that one year when they played Golden State, I think it was last year, 2 years ago in the play-in.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great thing. Obviously, it helps the NBA with ratings. I don't think there's any negatives to it.
Okay. All right. Listen, I'm going to give you my quick opinion on question number 3. Like Greg said, I'm old school, right? So I'm old school. When it first happened, I had to really dissect it, the pros and the cons. And for me, the cons weighed out the pros because I said, you got teams that's in the 9th, 10th, 11, and 12 that's sitting, right? And like you said, normally those Kings, Sacramento Kings would be every year in that 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th, right? Certain teams just stick and stay. Each year, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, right? And then now you're giving them the opportunity to actually try to make the playoffs, right? And the cons for me is this. It's the GMs and the owners. If you can't do your job correctly, this is just my opinion. If you can't do your job correctly and get better and scout better and get better talent, so you don't have to keep sticking and staying in that 9th, 10th, and 11th and 12th, right? Then you want to now throw in this play in, and then like Greg said, you luck out and you win 1 or 2 games, but the teams that was in the 7th and the 8th, they've been busting their butt all year, and then now they eliminated because, like you said, any given Sunday, right, Greg? Right. I don't care for it that much, but it is exciting. It's exciting. I'm not gonna front. It's exciting. Check this out. It's exciting when it ain't your team.
Exactly. That's exactly how it's gonna be.
Right? When it ain't your team that could get eliminated by this one game, right? Right? Then it's if it ain't your team, then it's exciting. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. So my cons outweigh the pros with that. That's just me. All right. But thank y'all very much for question number 3. I want to move on to question number 4. The whistle is blowing differently in the playoffs. That's every playoffs throughout the decades, the whistle blows differently. Should it be the same throughout the entire season? Said, talk to me.
We know it should, but that's not how it goes because we know how the calls are made. depending on which team on whatever given night. It's more of a superstar league. So a lot of superstars get calls that they shouldn't get that they did. Just and a perfect example was LeBron. What happened on that play? He did get fouled. You see it 100 times, but he didn't get the call. So my thing is, no, you don't get the same calls. You know, like I said, it's a superstar league. They get the calls. You know, and it happened for the first time ever with LeBron, but I think the whistle should blow the same for all. And you know, you see a lot of games where one team might get the majority of the calls and they get all the free throws during the game. So no, it's not fair. But you know, what are you gonna do? You know, these referees have their own. You know, they're supposed to call a game down the middle, and they don't do it. They don't, man. You get frustrated as a fan watching it from home each and every night. I get frustrated.
And that's why and that's the reason why you just said it. That's the reason why I had that. I had to come. This question has always been in my brain. You know what I'm saying? Always been in my brain. But I'm going to piggyback on question number 4. But Greg, I'm going to let you speak your piece, please.
Got you. So yeah, it's unfortunate that the whistle it blows different in the playoffs, and it's a big favoritism thing going on, as we know, since the 90s and 80s. It's been going on. The cameras won't help. It depends on the refs, depends on the relationships that we don't know off camera, and now we got to worry about FanDuel and all that stuff now. Now we got a whole different aspect that's coming into this now. So now it's like we don't know now.
Yeah,
You don't know who's on which side of the fence.
Listen, you said, man, with that FanDuel and all that online vetting, you said a mouthful there. That's for another show, Greg. Oh my God,
Bro.
And I just thought about it too, because I'm like,
that wasn't even on my mind. But yeah.
Vegas called the shots for a long time, so now people have incentives now.
You right about that. I didn't even think about that. That's for another show. Definitely, I got to create a show on that. I don't know if I want to though. We gonna see. I don't want nobody knocking on my door. Yeah, I think I may want to not make a show. But anyway, hey, Rail, same question. Talk to me. Thanks.
I had my answer as soon as he brought up FanDuel. I'm like, oh yes, politics as usual. Delving into politics right now. So like that's my main gripe as far as the whistle in the playoffs is you can tell, like, you know, which way the league kind of wants the game to swing, and then you could tell like when they're ready for that whole momentum to shift in the game. And it's like sometimes it just gets so blatant. Like you all said with that last LeBron call, it's just so that's like my only gripe about the playoffs. And then I was watching the game, it was the Rockets. I think it was the Kings. I can't remember who they were playing, and someone went for a shot and they called a foul on Eric Gordon. And it was like 2 seconds left in the game, and he was nowhere near him.
Nowhere near
him at all. So stuff like that is like kind of throws like a wrench into like me really like enjoying the game when calls like that happens.
Yeah. Thank you for that. But they call that the phantom foul.
Right. I hate it.
Yeah. Same question, T. Talk to me.
I mean, in a perfect world, it sounds cool to be able to regulate games and call all games the same, but it's impossible. Just the pace of the game during the regular season and the playoffs is 2 different games. Any avid basketball watcher knows the game slows down incredibly in the playoffs. It becomes a half-court game. So whoever runs the best half-court sets, best half-court defense. So you just can't. You cannot call the games the same as you would in the playoffs. The FanDuel part of it, like Greg said, which is obviously, like you said, is a huge part of it, because after that, you know, me and you always during the Laker games conversing. That was one of the things that came out. They said one of those refs, I think the ref that didn't make the call, the closest ref, had like a FanDuel account, and he always put his money on the Celtics.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This was Twitter investigators, so I don't know how reliable. You know, social media. Once one person does something, it's everywhere. People are
It's everywhere,
investigating in
right.
the background. So that does add a factor to that, adds a layer. And I mean, that's up to Adam Silver. That's why he gets paid what he gets paid. He has to figure out how to be able to filter out referees that are gonna, call the game fair. But you can't call the game as you would in the regular season, as you would in the playoffs. Impossible.
Okay. Well, thank y'all, all four of y'all, for question number 4. And I number 4, I got my opinion on 4. And my opinion goes like this: the whistle should be the same throughout the entire season, and that was always a pet peeve of mine throughout when I really started really understanding professional basketball in my teenager years, right? But then the game was different then. Okay, so the game was different then, but then when the '90s came, it softened up, and they justified, and similar to what you were saying a few seconds ago, T. You know what I'm saying? The game, they want the game to move faster, right? Because playoff time becomes a half-court game. I got that. I understand that. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is this: the whistle should be blown from game 1 to game 7 in the finals. It should be the same. And here's my reasons, okay? Players should not have to try to adjust their games, you know what I'm saying, come playoff time, okay? Because the refs are blowing the whistle differently. I mean, less, you know what I'm saying? Because what happens with that, right? Players during the regular season right now, I mean, the defense I call it matador defense. There's no defense. Cats don't want to get their second foul in the first half because they know where they're going. They're going to sit on the bench. And once they sit on the bench, they don't come back into the third quarter, right? Now, I'm talking the starting 5, okay? Role players coming off the bench, they trying their best not to foul at all because they know they get 2 fouls, they probably don't come back in at all, okay? Especially if they ain't contributing, right? So the game becomes watered down, what we seeing right now. I mean, with the matador defense, right? So that's why, Rel, you get those phantom fouls. You know what I mean? Because the refs got to do something because the players ain't, you know what I'm saying? The players ain't fouling. They ain't not fouling. You know, they calling and ones because I believe because the fans is all crazy. You know what I'm saying? The crowd going crazy, and an and one would just make it even more exciting. But then when they show the replay, I'm sitting here like most fans saying, yo, he ain't touch him. He didn't touch him at all. But it looked good. It looked good to call it because the ratings and everything else with the fans, the excitement, and one, the crowd going crazy. But then when you show it again, it's like, yo, he never touched them. He never touched them. You know what I'm saying? You got majority of the players who cannot adjust from regular season whistles to the playoff season whistles. They can't adjust. A lot of them can't adjust. They not, it's like, the LeBrons, the Kyrie Irvings, the veterans who've been there, they made that adjustment. They understand. But when you're talking about a 1 to maybe a 2, 3, maybe 4-year player, you know what I'm saying? He hasn't really mentally adjusted. It's like, yo, you ain't call that just a month ago or 2 weeks ago when it was regular season. You calling it now? You know what I'm saying? You can see it in their face. They confused. You know what I'm saying? They confused. And then you got, like I said, the Matador defense. It's just, so my thing is, yo, call it the way you should call it from game 1 in the regular season all the way to game 7 and the NBA finals. You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to call it Matador, during the regular season, then call it Matador during the playoffs. If you're going to go back to the 80s defense, stick and glue, you can hand check, whatever, then do that throughout the whole season. So then we can have some consistency when players, you know what I'm saying, don't get whistled over some. Come on, man. I mean, you know, I could go on and on with this, but I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on. You know what I'm saying? That's my pet peeve. I had to really with question number 4, because it's, you know, I'm watching the games and I'm saying, and then I'm watching college basketball. You know what I'm saying? So that's a whole different animal, because college ball players, when they coming into the NBA, you know what I'm saying? Listen, the whistles are totally different. And then now they gotta adjust to that. And then now, come playoffs, they gotta adjust to that. You know what I'm saying? So it's too much adjusting. Just stick and stay. Either the referee is gonna be Matador, or it's gonna be stick and glue on you. And keep it like that. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But I understand, T, you right, Lil T, you right. You know what I'm saying? They want to fast forward the game, make the game more exciting, yeah, because playoff time is going to become a half court. I got that. I understand that. I'm going to move on, though, with question number 5, right? The NBA standings for both conferences are stacked together with no real separation from the top 13. Why is that said?
Well, because like you said, there is no defense. Only a certain amount of teams play defense, and uh, it's just like, you know, it's run and shoot. You know, nobody really gets down and play defense. You know, like the '90s, and you know, listen to everything you just said. Has the leagues are watered down. You know, and I've been saying that since the '90s, because you don't see that type of ball playing anymore. And yes, we're in another millennium. We're in 2023. Yes, but still, you gotta play some type of defense, man. And the guys in the '90s made a way for the guys now. So the why you don't see anything, no separations, because you got teams trying to outscore one another every night. You know, so yeah, the reason why for me is that a lot of the teams play the same way. They play the same defense. You know, you be seeing guys blow by guys, you know, just letting them go. So I'm just saying that there's no defense in the league as far as I'm seeing right now. You know, you having too many 135, 145 game, 121, 118 games. Come on, man. That's why you're seeing the closeness. You know, nobody's playing defense, and it's a matter of who can outscore who each and every night, if you look at it.
Yeah, so true. Thank you for that. Same question, Greg. Same question.
Yeah, I feel like the NBA is more like a positionless league at this point. Um,
Correct.
it really is just shooters, and they barely getting offensive rebounds. You know, we know it's a select 5 guys as big men who really go get it every night and get those offensive rebounds. And those are the guys who are continuously all-stars and the MVP runner-ups. But it's like everybody's just standing around, just swiveling, looking to get the rock after a few touches. But no one's really not really playing no offense. Like said, you know, if it dropped, then we doing it again the next go around. It's not too much play calling. It's not strategic anymore. It's all about, you know, it's a Wild West show.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to outshoot the other person, and it's an analytics game. You know, it's not about dominating the person who you see on the card for tomorrow. You know, back then, you know, the guy tried to be like, listen, every time you play me, I'm gonna keep you below 15 points, and you a 25 a night guy. You know, that's where it's not in the mind no more. It's all about the repetitions, and hard work do beat talent, but that's when talent isn't prepared one night. That's how I feel.
Yeah, you're so right. So right. Thank you for that, Greg. Same question, Ralph. Same question.
Okay, I honestly think the reason why the league right now is so stacked and they all like close together is because, for one, the talent is spread out now to almost the top half of the league. Whereas
So
like
true.
you can look at any team on that's like pretty much playoff eligible right now. They pretty much have a like a solid duo that can lead them to the championship. And there really isn't one team right now like it used to be like prior to, where you had the early 2000 Lakers or the Bulls from the 90s or the Warriors from the mid 2000s or the Miami Heat with Brown. There is no team that's like you look at like, oh, they're the final boss. They pretty much taken over. I mean, you have the Nuggets right now who's doing pretty good, but I don't think anyone believes they going to the finals. I believe they probably get bounced in the first or the second round, because I just really just don't believe in Denver like that right now. So right now there really isn't a team that's really trying to like take their helm. And like everyone else is saying, no one's playing defense. Everyone's is trying to play like the Warriors, where they just shoot 50-foot jumpers, don't even try to get the board, barely play defense, and they just try to run it back. And then with a lot of the stars, they doing load management. You know, Kawhi playing every other game. KD gets hurt every year, and then he probably come back near the end before the playoffs to play. Steph gets hurt this time of the year every year, it seems like. And don't get me started on Anthony Davis. So those stars that's supposed to be like the dominant figureheads not even playing. So that pretty much leaves to like the third and fourth string, not fourth string, but fourth in command to be the guy the majority of the season when that's not their role. So that's kind of what we stuck with.
Yeah, you said a mouthful there. Yeah, yeah, that may be one of the main reasons. You're right. Same question, T. Why it's so stacked?
So for me, I'm gonna touch a little bit on what everybody made great points. All these guys know what they're talking about as far as defense is a combination of a lot of things. It's defense, is the league creating the game to be played this way, because at the end of the day, as much as like we may be more basketball fans, like we may be more educated basketball fans than like a regular Joe. Some like it just depends on how much you love basketball or whatever. But it's entertainment. And like that's what like Adam Silver's job is, to make the game as entertaining as possible. Where like sometimes in the 90s and 80s, I've seen old clips and YouTube videos of like knockout, juggernaut, drag out games, but the final score is like 85 to 86. Like, is, you got kids coming up playing AAU, they're taught to play a certain way now. So then those kids are the same kids that's coming into the NBA. It's a lot of different factors to it. I think it's good in the sense of like Rel was just saying how there's no more super teams. So I think that's a great thing, because I think for a while, especially when we had Braun in the East versus the Warriors every year, was crazy. Like it was literally every year we're just gonna run it back. Like give LeBron, whoever in Cleveland. At that time, he was still young enough to just make it work. And then you knew the Warriors were gonna meet him in the West, and then there was no parity to the league. So I think it's a good thing as far as that. At least now, like for all we know, Sacramento Kings might make the championship this year. I don't think that'll be good for the league. I don't think anybody would tune in to watch that, but except the people in Sacramento. But it at least gives at least a mystery. Sometimes you want the unexpected to happen. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. Yeah, the league is stacked. It has been stacked for a little minute now. That is so true. Y'all hit all four. All four of y'all hit it on the nose. Definitely hit it on the nose. And my last question to y'all. This question is not related to this topic. What would you like to see change to make the NBA experience better for you? Said, what would you like to see change after this season is over?
A little bit more consistent calls. And also, you know, I like I said, I'm old school. I like to see the defense brought the game, coaches, because right now, yes, just shooters. That's all you have. And like you said, analytics and everything. It's changed the game, but I would like to see a little bit more defense. I would like to see the calls a little bit more consistent. I would like to see some of the all-stars get less calls, because I think sometimes you may have a senior player or a further player come in the league, and a superstar would normally get that player won't get. And I just a little bit it has so I would just like a little bit more consistency in the calls, in the way it's played, and the way it's read. I would like to see that change a bit more in the NBA.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Seth. Same question, Greg. Same question.
So I would just want to see one thing, the consistency with the calls. That's a big thing that's coming up in the league.
Mhm.
Conversation for sure. Just would like to see the players. Would like to see more half court basketball. It don't have to be more, the run and gun, fast break thing. If it's open, you go for it. But that'll start getting the more matchups. The intensity to pick up.
Right.
Let's just break it down. We don't want it to be one-on-one, but if people have more chips on their shoulders, it'll make the greater game, more entertaining for everybody. And then the kids can learn too. The younger people can learn, about the positions and, the fundamentals. We're losing the fundamentals of the game. That's the part that's hurting most,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that, Greg. Same question, Rel. Same question.
Pretty much like to pick about off what they said, the cause just to be more fair. And aside from that, I like to see more post play and more mid range game. Like I really cherish like players that really work the mid range shots and the post rather than just everyone taking the 50-foot jumpers. Just more like mid range, and also I would like to see more players hanging around a team and actually like trying to build something rather than just bouncing so quick from their team. I pretty much like to see like more homegrown talent stand.
Camaraderie. Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, you're so right with that. Homegrown. You're right. Yeah. Same question, T. Same question.
Yeah, definitely for me, I definitely want to see more defense be played. I don't know if it's coaching that's the issue. I think it's more of just like they said, the analytics, the game, the tempo of the game picking up on purpose to be more entertaining. But it is we are losing the fundamentals. And I say that as a person who prides myself in like the fundamentals of basketball. And you have to build from the base, like cooking. You gotta build, it's like building a good sauce from the base. You gotta build from the base. So I do think the game has a long way to go. I think Adam Silver has his work cut out for him. I think he's really gonna have to sit down and come up with other ideas besides the playing game. And I feel like that was more put on like display this past weekend. Like yesterday, I fell asleep watching the All-Star game because it was just, you even had players, I'm watching interviews on Twitter today of players saying like it was just a glorified layup line. Like even like in 2020, I think was like probably the last good All-Star game where like the last couple of minutes they put in the target score and we had 24 points for Kobe and things like that. And they tried, like they were trying. Like it just seems like now nobody's trying because of the playing tournament and because of this and that and all of these. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on, but I know Adam Silver has his work cut off. There's a lot of things wrong. So you just got to take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
Thank you all four y'all for that. And see, you said the key name, T. Adam Silver, right? Because for my response for that question 6, right? As an NBA fan for many years, this load management that has been created, and they blaming everything on Popovich, right? Saying he started it, Greg Popovich, San Antonio Spurs coach, right? Now you got every team damn near doing it. And it is horrible for the game. It's just horrible. You got players not playing the second game on a back-to-back, right? You got fans spending top dollar in different cities to see their favorite player who comes to the city only once a year. And just because he played the night before, he ain't playing in your city, and you didn't spend all this money on a ticket. You bought gear, right? You bought your sneakers from head to toe, and you get to the arena to be told that your star player is not playing. Now you got to watch the bench players. Okay? That's horrible for fans. It's horrible. Okay? The low management, it doesn't allow the team to gel. Okay? And you know, that's another reason why it's so stacked, because you got low management galore. It's crazy. That's my number one pet peeve, along with the whistles not being the same throughout the whole season. So that's what I want to see change. And yes, Adam Silver's Heat, with this bargaining agreement that's coming up right after this season is over, yeah, he got a lot of work to do. And I said it in a prior show. If he's not going to make these changes, then he needs to step down and let them come up with another commissioner, because low management would have never survived if, God bless his soul, David Stern was still living and he was still running it. Nah, Yeah, he's the one who brought the entertainment into NBA. Yeah, but cats respected the game. You know what I mean? You know, so the game was respected, was played well. Okay, the All-Star games were different. I mean, what you saw, these last few years in the All-Star game, it's like, yo, yeah, everybody's falling asleep. Everybody's turning the channel, okay? You come back to the fourth quarter hoping they're going to play a little defense, and then that don't even happen. So, listen, I want to thank y'all. I want to thank you. I want to thank my guests. I appreciate y'all so much. Said, I appreciate you. Greg, I appreciate you very much. Rail, as always. T, as always. I want to thank y'all for hanging out with me virtually in my basement. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in. To my viewers and listeners, please continue to check me out on YouTube and subscribe. Check me out on the streaming platforms, Spotify and Apple. Also, please remember to check out Dewey Does Foundation, that is fighting childhood obesity, which helps support youth sports, fitness, and health at DeweyDoes.com. Plus, check out the Even Flow Coffee Company, created to combine the interests of coffee lovers, fashion, and music. For more information on to make a purchase, visit evenflowcoffee.com. As I always say, sports is what keeps this world from going insane, either in the pandemic or no pandemic. Until next time, take care.